Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. This is your place for helpful Web3 news, commentary, and, of course, answers to your crypto questions. My name is Evan. I'll be joined by Alex shortly, and who knows who else might be joining us today. It's Panel Tuesday, July 23rd, getting the first taste of Ethereum ETFs today. Let me know if you think it's going to be sweet or sour, considering that Bitcoin ETFs had a big old buy day yesterday, and ETH, I don't know. Is the market ready for it? Are you ready for it? I know someone who's ready for it. I'm sure Will is going to have an update with the precise figure, but I was seeing it looks like about $1 billion from, oh gosh, now I've already forgotten who it is. It's Grayscale, I'm pretty sure. Hey, thank you very much, Mike. Good morning to you, bud. $1 billion from Grayscale getting prepped over on Coinbase to move into the market, and I think the move is going to be a sell. So I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know what other crypto questions you have, and especially if you're somebody new who's joining us. I see all our friends. I see CJ. I see Red. I saw you. I think I saw Whale Boy. Spartan says, ETH has gone up today, and Bitcoin hasn't followed. The up movement, though, from ETH, I feel like is up to where it was. Am I wrong? It was like the last, little while. It's been just it's not like a, whoa, here we go kind of moment. But we'll see. During the show, people are often very active. We had a big Bitcoin candle the other day after the CPI numbers. So who knows? So, hey, the first things first. If you love the show, then do me a favor and give a little tap on the screen to help us help the algorithm know that this is helpful crypto content. Tap Alex's face or my face or whatever you got to do, poke our little morning faces, share the live with your friends, and let the algorithm know this is helpful content. If you're somebody who's new, then please do me a favor and let us know that too. Let us know it's your first time watching or you're new to cryptocurrency, you're not quite sure about this Bitcoin stuff, because otherwise, we might talk some inside baseball. We don't want to do that. This is an educational program. Edutainment. Unlike the rest of TikTok, which at its best I think is mostly just tainment. Sometimes it's painment. And we want to help you get your head around this stuff. So if you've got a question, if we say something you don't understand, please stop us. Anytime. That's what we're here for. And in the meantime, while we wait for our friends to introduce themselves, thank you everybody for the likes coming in. Say hello, Alex. How are you? How's your morning going?
Well, just started. So far, so good.
Did you see the video in the Situation Room last night?
Mm-mm.
There's this guy on TikTok. This is my cold open today. There's this guy on TikTok. I was scrolling last night. I came across this guy and I went like this, because just the way he was sitting and the way he was dressed and the shade of his skin and the shade of his beard and the shape of it. The thing that threw me off, honestly, was his glasses and his face. He looked like if Walmart, not even Walmart, if Alex had a stunt double in Hollywood, like that's how this guy looked like Alex. Looking at him, it was not Alex. It was obviously not Alex, but it looked like a guy who's probably, 10 years older than you. Slightly different glasses. I don't remember what his handle was, but it just had me rolling. I don't know why. He had the same backwards hat. He had this, the beard had this, his skin was kind of, he was sitting in his car. And I don't know, just the way he was. He looked like your stunt double, like somebody who was just a little different. His face is different. He was a little heavier than you. He was a little older than you, but I could see you guys standing around the water cooler at Central Casting together. I don't know why it made me so. It was so funny to me though. So I'll have to put his handle in the comments because everyone will think I'm such a fool because I'm laughing like a nut. But seriously, I was scrolling last night and I just, and as I watched him, the longer I watched him, the more I was like, okay, it's not that good. But just scrolling on him, rolling up on him on the For You page. And I feel like he was about to make a good point too. So, might be a flattering comparison, but
We'll see.
But he was like I said, he was like the stunt double version. Have you guys ever seen actors and their stunt doubles next to each other on set? It's funny how not like each other and like each other they look at the same time. I don't know how to describe it. It's weird. So
Well,
here we are, and here you are, and thank God it's you and not him.
what's anything has your interest already today besides my stunt
So
double?
just like everybody else was maybe talking about here in the comments a minute ago, I am watching for what's going to happen with this ETF,
Hmm.
and I'm also interested about the money that Grayscale moved. Um, Grayscale moved like $1 billion onto Coinbase, presumably to unload their old for the new. I think they're trying to get some exposure to this ETF, but I think they're going to dump some assets to do it first. They could be trying to tank the price of ETH in order to scoop some up. Who knows?
Yeah.
I was curious to hear what you guys thought. And then I see we've already got some questions rolling. Spartan was asking about the base chain, so we could certainly talk about that for a minute. The
Oh,
Tom Cruise
absolutely.
Ben Stiller one is funny. Yeah, absolutely. What about you? What are you eyeing?
No, just looking at the trending headlines, and yep, that's the first things, first two big ones. The spot ETFs for ETH starting to trade, and $1 billion in ETH getting moved. Um, wouldn't you know it? There are two Cardano stories trending.
Of course, there are two Cardano stories trending.
One
John
is
says, "This is so awesome. Thank you for the info." I feel like we haven't given you very good info yet, except that Alex has a stunt double.
one of the one is a price prediction, because of course it is.
And then while you're looking at that, I'll say, my thoughts on the base chain are exactly where Alex's are. The base chain is hot right now, Spartan.
Oh
People
yeah.
are speculating on it. Meme coins are popping up. But the real question is, have you used it yet? Coinbase is investing a lot of time and money and attention in their on-chain summer initiative right now, which is designed to bring everything they do is about bringing the next billion people on chain. That's like the way they talk about it. And they really believe this stuff. And they believe that the best way to do it is with consumer crypto apps. So on like the consumer side, you get the smart wallet. They're very interested in things like Machiste built, the token store, where you can, have like an eBay-esque experience with a shopping cart, but it's crypto tokens. And they also have more level 1 and 2 stuff for folks like us. And I would say that's like your Warpcast. It's Twitter, but it's on chain, or as on chain as you want it to be. And people are doing all kinds of on chain experiences inside social posts there. If you're not using the base chain, I think you're missing out, would be my short take on it. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I was gonna say everyone's claim to fame is they're gonna onboard a billion, and I've only ever seen two ecosystems make recently like a concerted effort to try. Um, and I think Base has a good shot because they are open and admit about the trade off in convenience and accessibility, which they've traded for centralization. Um, which I'm personally okay with, given that there is like a plan, like a measured plan to decentralize, which is kind of an interesting. One of the first that I've seen like purposely talk about it as the spectrum that it is, instead of just like hey, no, we're fine, we're already decentralized. Like, the base homepage is just like, hey, this shit's centralized. I mean, and you'd be silly to think otherwise, right? It's Coinbase's blockchain. Coinbase is a giant company, publicly traded. Of course, they have shareholders to make happy. And I just always appreciated that because Polkadot did it too. And then Polkadot didn't. So we'll see, because the prove it the test model has not been phenomenal. Like you can't say that Polkadot doesn't work well, but there's some issues. So I think that being open about being centralized and continuing to work on products with actually improved UX over general on-chain practices will do them a lot of good in the near future.
Plus, we're working on getting Jesse on the show. Thanks to old Alex here, who is maybe feeling a little salty, going to give up on Warpcast and gave it the old college try. Made a couple sweet connections, and so if you got a question about bass, why not just come back that day and ask Jesse yourself? I'm all in on the bass ecosystem. Okay, Spartan. Very cool. Well, if you're on Warpcast, you can find both of us. I think I'm just at Evan Mann, and he's at Alex Popovich. No underscores or anything there, right? You just nabbed the real one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then come find us over there on Warpcast. That's the real alpha. If you haven't done it yet, maybe the spice we could add to your life. It'll take you 5 minutes. It'll cost you $5. I've got a referral link. He's got a referral link. It's in our bio. Focus Kid, help me out, man. Where the hell did I ghost you? And to whoever's wondering, Alex and I have both said it, but I think it's worth noting that this show is not sponsored yet, but it could be sponsored, and it could be sponsored by somebody who wants to help us maintain our hair, because my hair is surprisingly unproductized. Shampoo and conditioner, baby. So get on that.
It's true.
I got you. What I say? I'm sorry. I'm just looking at Focus Kit. It is true. Sponsor us, Pantene.
Focus, yeah, you can put pictures right in the general chat on
He's
Discord.
about to put a picture of a receipt of where I said I'd answer him, and then I didn't, probably.
I think that was from me.
Oh.
But no ghosting. I'm just kind of busy.
You see what Brad said? Brad made a good point on Coinbase and has some free and clear money, but also he was ribbing on you about Dot a little. He's still holding. Listen.
Yeah, John, Brett's a meme, man. It's a meme. I don't have any other thoughts on it. It's a meme. If you want to pull the slot machine, then pull the slot machine.
My thought on Brett is it's like, if you're not in it, I would be curious to know why you would want to get in it. And if you are in it, I'm curious, like, what are you doing with it? Where do you think it's going to go? Would be like what I would ask. The older a meme gets, the longer it's alive, the more likely it is to go to zero. And it's it's still kind of a long way to go to get to Shiba Inu level. Maybe it could do it, but I don't know. I have a hard time building conviction in memes for that reason. Like, it's a meme. It's a meme.
It do be a meme. As far as Dot goes for this run, I think they really. So there was the news came out about them that they are spending a tremendous amount of money, and it is their fault, but it also isn't their fault. They have a very particular spending method wherein proposals get submitted, and then everybody who holds Dot can vote. And if they vote to spend, the treasury spends. And I have mixed feelings about that because it is the way to do it. It was not 86 million in a month. It was 86 or 83 over 6 months, which is a lot. Including 33 million on marketing alone in 6 months. So, like I said, mixed feelings because they are running a treasury and it's up to the community. And if the Dot holders really didn't want that to happen, they would not have let it happen. I think at some point, and they do have so much money that even at that rate, they could still continue to spend that much for 2 years, which is pretty
wild. That's so wild. But a lot of layer ones are in that bucket.
Yeah. But not a lot of them are just hemorrhaging money like that because voters said so. And to put it in perspective, if I'm applying for some grants, and if I want to apply to one for the Kusama or the Polkadot ecosystem, I first have to make an account on their message boards, which are similar to Reddit, and then present your case and then get popular enough to be taken for a vote. and then convince the holders that I'm worth. It's a process. So like people who go through it, they go through it. So I don't know. I think for me, I would really like to see the holders maybe rein it in a little bit, or I would like to see the foundation, limit the amount of money that can be voted on. I don't think they need to put the entire treasury up for grabs, because the kids are proving to be reckless spenders. So perhaps rein it in a little bit. Otherwise, I don't know that. I guess that's the thing. Like, spending that much isn't the worst thing in the world, but I don't see evidence that they've gotten good return on their investment with all of that, because a lot of it went to some relatively large content creators, which I've never seen helpful Polkadot related content from any of them. I can't think of a single like genuinely good video.
No, and a lot of it too, like even the best paycheck they spent, in my opinion, was Laura Shin, who has the best crypto podcast in the game at Unchained, and honestly has built it into a wonderful news, like the core of a news website. They have articles and stuff too, unchainedcrypto.com. And she's got a staff, but it's like commercials. It's not what I would consider 21st century advertising. Like,
Yeah.
it's totally fine to do commercials, but I feel like there's a missed opportunity for value that converts people, and those are crypto people. I get it, they need people who are crypto people, but I don't know. They're going to need some more liquidity, and that's either going to come from somebody building a banging product, which is going to come from a closer relationship. If I'm a dev and I'm hearing you do a commercial on my favorite podcast, I might shake your hand and say thanks for sponsoring the show when we see each other at a conference, but I'm not going to be like, wow, Polkadot sponsoring Laura Shin, something she said made me decide I'm going to port my whole business over there. I'm building on Polkadot now. No, so I don't know. Laura, if you're watching, no hate, no shade. Obviously, I love you. But I think there's a better way, like you say, to engage people and get them over there.
I mean, go for it. Spend your money, but spend it on better shit. You don't. I mean, 4.4 million on influencers in 1 month, and I consider myself relatively tapped in, and I didn't see a single piece of that content. So that means something's wrong.
Yeah, I don't know where they post it.
So Brad, like I said, I'm waiting for fall because we have auctions coming up, and I'm very curious to see how that goes. There was a lot of chatter about the auctions earlier, like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, and I haven't really seen anything since then. One of the bigger talking points, which of course now has way more political attention on it, so I would imagine that could be why they pulled back, was what's his face? One of the billionaires in charge of the Heritage Foundation wanted to make a bid for the TikTok purchase. Haven't heard a single whisper about that since, and was rumoring that Polkadot could host some of the infrastructure or something like that. And I remember thinking at the time that, because of course the headline went crazy, and I remember thinking at the time, like, okay, this seems to me to be something that this guy might just be saying so that he can drum up some support and some hype to have a better shot at winning his auction in the fall. But then I didn't see them continue on with any of it, so I have no clue if they've dropped that idea or if that's still on the table. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, we haven't heard anything. I was sad about that because that would be cool. That would be extremely bullish,
And I imagine that the other big ones are going to want to keep their parachains, but I haven't really seen much stuff from I haven't seen any from the Glimmer ecosystem, which is what, Moonbeam and Moon River. Haven't seen anything from them. Akala, haven't seen anything. Who are some other big chain or auction winners?
I mean, Moonbeam and Akala are honestly the only ones I remember. Akala was where I had staked my dot.
Yep.
And honestly, I don't know what has happened, where my Akala tokens have gone. I logged into my Polkadot wallet earlier this year, and I'm sure my staking period is done because that was forever ago.
Oh
And
yeah.
I've logged into it periodically, but where did they go? Did they go to your dot wallet? I had to upgrade mine
You
when
might
I
have to pull it down. It might still be there, delegated,
oh
just like
well,
unlockable.
let's hope it's doing something then, because maybe I'm rich. That would be cool. That would be cool. There would be you. I wouldn't tell you, but there would be signs.
I
There
would
would.
definitely check.
Yeah. Okay. So we had a question here, and then I just remembered I had a question for you too. Um, the question we had was about TARS AI, and I wanted to make a signpost that I have done light research into this enough to form what I think is like a I don't need to look further into it now personal opinion for me.
Mhm.
But our friend Will has recently gotten into some of that sweet sponsorship money. They invited him to look deeper into the project and has offered to do a research video for them, talking about the pros, the cons, giving him his feedback. And so, really, I would say that's the resource I would probably recommend everybody to. I expect it will be coming out soon. Will is prolific. It'll probably take him a couple days because he'll probably want to do a real thorough job on it. And when he has that, I will post it, repost it, whatever. We'll put it in the Discord, and I will certainly make sure, Mike, that you get your eyes on it. But we'll have him here to talk about it too. Um, I'd like to know what you guys think. My impression, I don't know, Alex, what you think, is I think generally about AI crypto. AI and crypto will have a symbiotic relationship in a lot of ways, but that most tokens using AI or including it in their narrative, they really have nothing to do with it aside from give me some of that buzzworthy money.
Yep.
And I think that what I saw, I actually did another look when Will told us he was doing a partnership. I think they have got a product, which is more than most people can say. They're working on developing their infrastructure. Obviously, they have partnerships they're very proud of, like the support of the Solana Foundation. I I am curious to hear more about the depth of that partnership, and I also feel like there's significant volatility in the token. I don't know what their supply is, how much of it is in the hands of insiders in the team. I do know they've done a lot of burns to increase scarcity, which has like floated the token value. And I don't know. I think I think if they can develop and deploy some of their solutions, like they have these chat bots they're working on for customer service, that could be banging if they got the market share on that. Um, if the Solana partnership was like a real deep thing, turned out, if they showed more interest in the future, that would be cool. And if they can find a way, I don't know what the token does in their ecosystem, but if it's speculative, then all it is a fundraising token. And it probably has been heavily allocated to insiders. And it probably is likely that it's, not a good time for folks like us to buy. Um, what do you think? Is that about cover it?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm like I would withhold judgment. I haven't done any research into
Yeah,
TARS.
same. This is all my shallow.
Yeah. My general thinking when it comes to people who do like a lot of deflationary stuff with tokens, burn this, burn that, whatever, uh, is that they are just doing it for attention. It doesn't really do anything to help anyone, and it's usually like it's a method to improve the price action right now to generate some excitement because people for some reason people love it when people burn crypto, and I keep trying to tell you guys when you burn crypto, you do it because you planned on doing it, which means that you made enough for yourself to burn it so that you could get away with burning it and it wouldn't cost you anything. Um, that's why like I don't care when someone like burns their memes, right? Because like Evan and I could make a meme and we could hype this whole big thing up about how we're going to burn it. And we wanted to burn, 1 trillion tokens because that just sounds crazy. So what did we do? We minted a quadrillion so that
Yeah.
we could plan on burning trillions of tokens. And it's like, okay, so that doesn't really do it for me because I'm a big fan of tokens that have utility that we want to get into the hands of as many people as possible. Like if you're actively trying to onboard 1 billion people to your thing, why are you destroying your product? It doesn't make any sense. Like no other business on earth would do that. Where like you make something and you're like, ooh, people are starting to find this exciting. Let's throw half of our inventory into a landfill. That sounds so stupid. So I don't really get it. Why? I mean, I shouldn't say that. I do get it. It's because it moves the price.
Yeah, and all their social stuff in the last like week or 2 weeks has been about, they're really interested in. They launched a staking program. They're excited about this burn that's coming up, and they're talking a lot about the supply. They're launching a buyback program. They're buying back $10 million of their token over the next month. And just the way that they're talking about it, like, stake, earn points, you can get these NFTs, you can turn your points into NFTs that will mint tokens that mine more tokens. I don't know. It's like a token thing. It is a pay attention to us because you will get money and the money will go up in value. And maybe if you're paying attention, you can make money on that. But almost every crypto company I personally have seen that is what they're doing to raise money for a product they hope will work. You got to remember, these are still venture style investments. Most of them don't have the product yet. And if they have the product, it doesn't have product market fit yet. Most venture style investments will go to zero. And when they do, often before they do, the token incentives will dry up. The people who made their money will sell on everybody else and run away. I think a lot of crypto folks labor under the impression that like this AI token product or this DPIN product or this whatever is going to like totally change AI or totally change. It's going to be a product. It's going to be like GPT, but crypto. The truth is that most of these projects will not. If you take, I don't know, 10 tokens that people on crypto TikTok you really like and admire are paying attention to, where they've done their research and said this one has a good chance, of those 10 tokens, one of them might make it. Honestly, the odds are stacked not in favor of that. So you got to know how to move your money if you want to make that play. You got to watch the charts. You got to watch the community. You got to watch the sentiment. You absolutely can make money if there is attention here, but I don't know. Alex, I feel like it's true all the time what you say, that more and more, I just don't like that many crypto.
Nope, I really don't. I know it's a curmudgeon-y thing to say, but like I just don't like them.
You know what I do like, Alex? You know what I really like? I really like when Neil comes in the chat. I really like when Neil is in my life, just period, because I miss him. I like when Neil comes in the chat because he usually just drops a statement. And usually it's a divisive statement, and it gets the people going. Today, Neil said, hey, Neil, how are you? Hi, hey, hi. Neil said, AI will decide the election. I don't know, man. I don't know. Speaking of the election, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
What do you think is going to happen at Donald Trump's announcement at the Bitcoin conference? Do you think he's just going to make a speech from a prompter?
Yes.
Or do you think he's going to make an announcement?
I mean, I think he's going to ramble for a really long time.
Do you think he's going to draw? I think there are a lot of people I'm seeing expecting him to make an announcement. And particularly, I've seen two. They expect that he is going to announce that Bitcoin will be accepted as legal tender by the United States, which would mostly just be like a showcase announcement, I feel like. Mm-hmm. Or that he's going to, I've heard two things, and I think people are getting them confused. Make Bitcoin more of a strategic reserve currency is what I think they're trying to say. Like, we will buy more Bitcoin and hold it. I have heard people say the dollar will be backed by Bitcoin, and I wanted to clarify why that's probably not the case for people and what the difference was, but that's what I was talking about. Do you think he's going to make an announcement like that?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it really depends. Like, so traditionally at these conferences, it's announcement season. He's not known for going with the flow or like, just doing the thing because that's what people do. So he might not. He might just say a whole bunch of stuff. I'm expecting lots of platitudes. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just sort of like a vague general, like, the US will be the crypto powerhouse of the world. We can't let China take this from us, blah, 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 whatever. That's sort of what I imagine. I'm not imagining that we're going to get from him like a plan or a legitimate proposal or any of that, like it's what I say. Like, I do hope that some net good for the industry comes out, but at the end of the day, it's important that we're honest with ourselves that like he is here to win. He's here to win an election. And he's going to do and say whatever he thinks is going to help him win the election. So I expect lots of radical left bashing, the anti-crypto bashing. I don't know. I guess I just expect like a sycophantic Bitcoin screaming fest.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I also like what Tech CEO says. I think he comes in hot with 2 t-shirt guns. Yeah, I could see that. I think you're right. It's pandering. Like you always say. Everyone's saying it too. Pandering. He'll say what he needs to win. Imagine broken promises being part of an election campaign.
In the interest of being fair, too, I think that there's plenty of pandering on the other side of the aisle as well. We're talking about this particular pander specifically right this second. But in terms of like politicians in the United States that I believe have legitimately made an effort to like say helpful crypto things, we got to go back years to look up like, I got to look up names because I always forget. There's like 2 senators, one Democrat and one Republican, that have just co-authored every piece of helpful legislation. They've never had their day. They never get voted on. But let me.
You're talking about for crypto specifically?
Yeah, Cynthia Loomis.
Senator Cynthia Loomis.
Now there's 2 others that have written a lot of stuff. Loomis is very public, like about being out and like wanting to help this and write this and author this and do this, and she's been a lot more forward about it.
Gillibrand.
Yeah, that one sounds really familiar.
There's also this congressperson French Hill, whose name I don't know who he is or what he represents, but I don't know how his name has escaped me with a name.
There it is. I was thinking about Tom Emmer, who is Tom Emmer. Tom Emmer is a Republican congressperson who has been very publicly in favor of crypto and blockchain related innovation for years. I'm not just talking about picked it up because he wanted donations. There are quite a few. Cynthia Loomis, Tom Emmer, Caraveo. She's from Colorado. She's also been extremely supportive. Dean Phillips was another one that I was thinking of. Dean Phillips and Tom Emmer have worked on some stuff together, and that's Dean Phillips is Democrat, Tom Emmer is Republican.
Breakfast ready.
There's a few others that have kind of dabbled. And then there's a lot more Congress people that have come out, like, in recent times. But those few are the ones that I was thinking of. Emmer and Phillips and Loomis.
Yeah, there's a good episode on Unchained, of course, with this guy French Hill, and he mentions all of them. He's on the finance committee though, and he was talking about one of the things he said was they discussed who they thought Trump might pick if he won for Gary's job, and everybody. All our friends in Congress want Hester to do it. And he thinks that Trump would be inclined to appoint Hester to the role of commissioner. And I found myself thinking that might be the best thing Donald Trump ever does. Oh, that would be so great. I saw a question in the comments. What does it imply to say that Bitcoin would be legal tender? And the answer is that if a country adopts a currency as legal tender, it has to be accepted by that government and by businesses under the purview of that government for all debts, public and private. You could pay your taxes in Bitcoin. You could buy anything anywhere in Bitcoin. If Trump was to come out and say that, that's definitely the kind of thing Donald Trump would say, but that doesn't make it true. It is a legal, formal process to say that a thing is your legal tender. And it does not mean that the dollar is backed by Bitcoin, for example. When El Salvador made Bitcoin legal tender, it meant that businesses had to accept it, but they had to build the infrastructure for businesses to accept it. They invested a lot of money in getting people phones and getting people an app and rolling this stuff out, educating them on how to use it. And it was still tough. I think it was a huge success in many ways, but it was very, it was rough.
It's still too is worth noting that in this country in particular, if they tried to make that declaration, you got a lot of businesses here that are going to fight back and refuse, and it's going to cause a lot of lawsuits to be filed, and then the thing will be litigated for a long time. I think that it's possible, in the future, but you need a lot of you gotta have a lot of other stuff happen first. You can't just go straight from it's a scam 2 years ago and how much he hates it to its legal tender recognized federally in the United States.
Oh yeah, you can. If you're on the platform and you sound like this, you could say anything you want, my friend. Believe me, you told me your face should be on a coin. I said yes. I said an eagle on one side and me on the other. Glorious, truly magnificent.
And yes, he can espouse whatever he wants. I'm just saying it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. No. Before I get us canceled or flagged for talking about U.S. elections, can I change your subject again and honor our friend Sonoran, who's here every day, and answer a question for her? By the way, to everybody who's here all the time, every day, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This is your reminder. Help us help others. Do tap the screen when you get a second. If you've got your thumbs at the ready, you share this live with your friends who need it, and let them know we're here Monday through Thursday at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We are pandering to you, but not so far as to tell you something we don't know and to try and influence you to do something. We want to help you become more sufficient. We want to help you learn what we know and more than we know. If you're new watching this show, especially, don't be afraid to speak up. This is a very friendly place to be. We are happy to answer your crypto questions. Sonoran's question that I'd love your perspective on. Sonoran asked about Biconomy. I am not familiar with Biconomy. It's something that they asked about the other day, and then I remember being like, oh, let me Google it and we can talk about it, and I pulled it up and I was a bad steward of your attention. I'm sorry. But it is plug and play APIs to simplify the Web3 infrastructure. And that headline throws me off a little. The Web3 infrastructure kind of strikes me as like the Google. But I figured, Alex, maybe we could just pull up their website. It's Biconomy, spelled like it sounds, .io. It's got a cute little orange website. And just see what we thought. And then Sonoran, tell me what you think. Anybody else? Are you into Biconomy? Is it strike you as a meaningful piece of infrastructure? Machiste says, devs can use Biconomy to do stuff like sponsor gas for app users. How cool! I love that. And good morning, Doug. Good morning, everyone. If you're tuning in and we haven't said hey to you, let us know. I see Rick there throwing gifts in the comments. Thank you very much. Ace says Web3 is so much more than APIs and tokens too. So as I'm looking at this website, though, it looks like a dev-centric website, powering the best on-chain experiences, build seamless dApps for every user. So easy to understand, but oriented towards us. This is not a consumer-facing product. And I'm curious to know who's using it and why more people aren't using it and why I'm not hearing about it all the time. Do they have a token I can buy? What are you seeing, Alex? Anything?
Just opening it now. I just put a link in the general chat to the I Stand With Crypto Packs website. and specifically a list of all of the U.S. politicians and their stance on crypto, yay or nay. So it's interesting just because, you hear a lot of talking points, especially from the right, that like Trump is the pro crypto guy. And there are certainly more Republicans in support, but there are plenty of Democrats, and many of them have been there for a very long time. So it's just interesting. There's a ton. Something to consider. What is Evan? What's the URL for?
It's byconomy.io.
How do you spell that?
Like it sounds, bi like sexual, economy like economy.
Dot what?
IO. And it's definitely meant for techie people.
You know what's interesting, actually? Just on this, I stand with crypto. Do you know who Molly White is?
Yeah, isn't she Zuck's sister?
No.
And then no.
No, she's actually a friend of a friend.
She's just a random person I know. Okay.
I made an effort to get her to come on the show because it would be wild, but she's not interested. She is quite anti-crypto, and she runs a page on Twitter that you might have seen called Web3 is Going Great. And
oh my gosh, yes. I love that.
Yeah, she's great. She just published a piece a couple days ago, basically exposing the I stand with crypto. I haven't looked into it, so I don't know if I don't know how accurate this is on either side. But she basically said like they're advertising, a million plus people have raised how many dollars, in fundraising, whatever, for this thing, when actually, if you trace all of it back, you can tell that there have only been 7 donors, and they have donated all of it, and that everything else has come from, or there is nothing else, like that all of the money in their treasury has come from 7 people.
Wow.
And it was very interesting because when she posts, a lot of people pay attention, and usually she just gets flamed in comments by maxis whose bags she's fudding. But I'm not surprised that she didn't want to come on the show. I'm not surprised at all.
She just thank you.
I thought I'd maybe have an in, considering that my best friend is one of her very close friends. But no luck. Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So Norton, as I look through this, I think this is, probably this is something I'd want to dig into a little more concertedly when I wasn't talking back and forth and drinking coffee. It looks like a developer-oriented website.
Yeah.
You can build different kinds of it's basically user experience tools, modular smart accounts, bundling transactions as a service, meaning reducing your price for gas. It sounds like Machiste said they sponsor gas for other people. And what are called paymasters as a service is advertised on their website, which is another way to say, we pay your gas. Looks like it's available on every EVM compatible chain. And my understanding of this, though, is this is kind of a competitive space. I would want to go to, I honestly don't know if there's like a DeFi llama, but make it developer tools. Do you guys have a good website that you use to see, what does everybody use to see what networks are active and like the quality of their updates and commits? Because sure, you got a bajillion trillion GitHub commits, but like, what did you actually do? Is it 7 people? Are they changing the font? I'd be curious to know. Do you have one, Alex, that you use for because I'd want to put a tool like this to an assessment like that. I'd also want to know, do they have a token? They certainly have products.
I don't have one off the top of my head, besides, but I'm sure there is one, so I'm sure I could find one. I'll make a note to look for one.
Yeah, let us know. I feel like Ace would know. Or maybe someone else. Biconomy looks like an attempt to solve all the UX problems caused by scaling via fragmentation. That's a great way to say it. So, but immediately right off the bat, they're competing with Coinbase. You know that they're competing with, I don't know, Mint Layer. They're competing with. It's a competitive space, which doesn't mean they can't do it. And in fact, I think smaller players are a lot more nimble usually. You know, just a couple people in a website somewhere hacking away doing their stuff. That's cool. Um, but that's my thought on it, Sonoran.
I would say that this looks interesting. It looks cool. I mean, it sounds like a thing that we need, and I would rather see the model set up, where there were like this seems like it's maybe set up for a partnership that actually makes sense, where like um I don't know, something that is working more focused on like specific DApp development, making new wallets, making new apps and stuff like that. That they could just plug in a white label service, potentially like something from people like this, that could make it smoother, make it work better. I would rather do that if I was like, if I was designing an app and I didn't want to think about all of these other things, I would try to find, like a reputable company that could help me by connecting some of the dots for me,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. That's
Yeah,
kind
absolutely.
of the impression I get from this. So an interesting talk. I wish I could find it again. It was just scrolling through TikTok and I found the good video and I meant to save it and then I didn't save it in time and then the thing refreshed and it's gone forever. And you know how that goes. That was just talking about how like one of the bigger struggles in Web3 in general right now is just like making an app that people genuinely want to just be on, getting nothing in return or paying for it. And there are tons of those. Yeah, TikTok is a good one. I'm sure that if TikTok started charging a monthly membership fee, like to be here, like, a couple bucks a month to use it or something, I'm sure it wouldn't suffer that much.
No.
And there just isn't one of those in Web3. And the most likely candidate to kick us off are games. So it was just a very interesting case for, Web3 gaming being a thing. Which then, of course, I went over to Twitter, and it was funny. There was a pretty, I would say, pretty well-known Twitter personality in the crypto world. Coop works for Avalanche. Posts a ton of stuff. Semi-inflammatory takes every now and then, but I would say generally good. I followed him for a long time. Anyway, he was just like, apparently people are starting to make crypto content on TikTok. And I was like, dude, I've never seen a more like in your face just display of how disconnected those two things are. 'Cause that's one of those things I've been saying, right? Like Twitter and TikTok's crypto worlds are completely disconnected.
Absolutely.
And it's not even close. And it's really interesting. Like I encourage you to go spend some time looking for crypto stuff on Twitter. And it's interesting too, because I guarantee that most of the people making videos here would never post the video on Twitter because they're nervous. Either they know that it would not be received well because they know they can't get away with that shit because there's a lot more like technical people. I mean, Zach XBT is there, not here. And all of the Zach likes are there, not here. So if you make a bombastic claim about how some project is great, I'm just thinking about all the dumbass shill videos I've ever seen where this project is incredible because XYZ. That doesn't fly on Twitter as much as it flies here. So this is really interesting. I was like, no, dude, like, he's like, is this a top signal that they're starting to make crypto content on TikTok? I was like, dude, it's been there for years. I've been there for years. Because he was like, I feel like it's impossible. You're just going to get banned immediately. It's like, believe it or not, I've been making videos, 1,000 videos for 3+ years over there, and I've never even had an account warning. It's really not that hard to not get banned and talk about crypto in every single video. And I'm saying the word, like Wendy's still out here, bless her, refusing to say the word crypto like in a video because she thinks it's going to get her banned. And I'm like, dude, I've never even had a warning. So you're doing something else if you're getting warned and banned. But just really interesting. So I'm really trying to drag kicking and screaming some Twitter people over here because it's just going to blow their mind to see how many people are here are interested, and vice versa.
Tell them to wear a helmet. I think people get discouraged the same way we might, when you go over to Twitter. I think when you look at followers and you want a following and you want to do this and participate in the conversation, I think it can be really discouraging to go from one platform to another where people, you so much of your attention is dependent on virality. People on Twitter are just like people on TikTok in the sense that they are following folks who had a great call or a banging tweet or something like one time. I would say most of the most followed accounts are not the most valuable accounts, but that follows are sort of like a skewed indicator of value. There are plenty of people who are super valuable who have lots of followers, but I don't know. I don't think that's a very good metric on TikTok or Twitter. And I think it discourages people from creating because they feel like they can't attract followers. Now, sometimes it's just you don't have content that's good for the medium. I'm not good on Twitter because I just don't post enough. I don't post enough threads. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't follow me on Twitter. But where's our boy Will today? It's Panel Tuesday. Where's he at? I was ready for him to start telling me all about his ETF predictions. I was honestly thinking he'd give me a little juicy nugget. Tell me what he thought. He doesn't love us here anymore, chat. My friends. My final thought on Bioconomy is that I went to CoinGecko and found some good resources. CoinGecko now has a token unlocks tab. I had not seen that before. I was just there yesterday and I didn't see it. Maybe I missed it, but it's that's why, because I was on CoinMarketCap. How did I get there from CoinGecko? That's sneaky. Weird. So you can see more about that if you care about Bioconomy, but there was a lot of good information, like people who are using their products on CoinMarketCap. Wow. At 2? What makes it unique? What distinguishes it? That kind of thing. I thought it was really helpful. So give that a look. And if you're not in the Discord yet, it's the place that the show lives 24/7. You can find it at my bio, his bio. I'll stop yapping about it and just tell you it's the best place to be if you want to learn from us. And you can get there totally free. So sign up today. And I've got a video coming later about how to use our Discord specifically. So if you're not a Discord person, you're trying to learn crypto, Alex and I sat down, we took the time to walk you through the server. I'm going to edit it, throw it in there. What do we think about the ETFs? We talked about it a little bit, we talked about it a little bit, but I think it's, he's moving. Will's moving. Oh my gosh. I think it's going to be probably a sell the news event. I think it's probably going to be a little bloody for ETH. Grayscale moved about $1 billion on chain last night, presumably to dump it at once or altogether. I don't think there's going to be $1 billion of demand. I think people who are buying ETFs are probably more interested in the Bitcoin ETF. But I expect to see some movement of price, and I think it's going to be rocky. What do you think?
If I'm guessing,
yeah,
I am guessing. Just make that abundantly clear. I have no idea. I would imagine that it would. I don't know. My boring prediction is probably that it acts like a tamer version of how Bitcoin moved after. Sell the news because that's the MO and that's what people expect. I just think, I don't know. If we think about it technically, like why is an Ethereum ETF not as sensible as a Bitcoin ETF? For the reason that this Bitcoin is meant to be held and kept and saved and treasured,
cherished.
ETH is meant to be used. Dude. That one is my favorite, and I forgot that it existed the other day when we were talking about favorite ones. But the funniest thing of all time, I wish I could remember exactly what the topic was, but someone was like on TikTok of all places, right, on a live, trying to have the most serious like conversation ever. They were like nearly crying. It was like an apology thing for doing something terrible, some huge influencer, and people were just sending the elephant at them over and over again, and they were so mad. And dude, I was dying because of course if you tell them like, hey, I no, don't do that, I'm trying to be serious, like don't send me that, what's the internet going to do, right? Like send it again. I challenge anyone to find anything that takes the wind out of your serious sails more quickly than the elephant.
Honestly, and it's not like you were saying something with like emotional gravity, but you were about to make a serious educational point, and that was perfectly timed. That was
it could not have been
absolutely perfect.
It could not have been more perfect. Who was that?
That was Ambar, who is I've already forgotten their Drew. Was it Drew?
Yeah.
Drew.
Okay. That was Drew. Well done.
Okay, so Bitcoin is meant to be cherished.
Yeah. and ETH is meant to be used. It's a utility token, right? Or coin, sorry. And there's issues with just hoarding it, because if too much of it gets bought up by ETF suppliers, that's genuinely bad for the network, because it's not being staked and it's not being used to secure and validate and verify, and it's just being kept off. Now, I will say that, granted, most ETH is not staked. I don't think a majority of it is staked. I could be wrong, but I want to say that the majority is not staked.
Let me see, because it's gone up, I feel like. What is the ratio?
Yeah, okay. So this is from last year. I mean, geez, that's even worse than I thought. This time last year, 20% was staked.
It looks like 27% is staked now, and this is per Gecko. Sorry, go ahead.
That concurs with the number that I had in my head, which is that 70% of ETH is unstaked. Not lately, Neil. It has been for a very long time. It was actually only deflationary for a very short period of time. It's much better than it was, but it's still inflationary. And it has, like I said, it's only actually gone deflationary 2 or 3 different times for a month or two here and there. So anyway, that's my issue, right? The ETF for ETH doesn't really make that much sense unless there is staking of held ETH, which would turn this thing from a concern into the single most bullish thing for ETH ever. If the ETF, sorry, a rogue dog hair just floated past, and now I'm like,
yeah.
Anyway, so I don't think they're going to do anything with staking. That's way too much. That's way too much stuff. It would be cool. I highly doubt it. So that part is very concerning. I also just think, like, if I'm being a little bit bitter, I don't think anybody cares. I don't think anybody knows. Like, I don't think big TradFi institutions are thinking about the security of the Ethereum blockchain. They're thinking about how much money can they make off of this ETF buying and selling and trading. And I think that if enough people who just don't really know see that now this new product is out on the market, and the Bitcoin one has been the most successful ETF launch in human history, that there's no reason why they wouldn't pile into this one. So conservatively, like, I imagine that we will see the sell the news type of thing that we always see. And then I think it's just going to do, what normal ETF stuff happens. And given the fact that it's following Bitcoin and how well that's done, I think more people are going to just pile heavier into ETH, expecting a similar trajectory. So
Plike has a really good question here that I want to address, which is, what does the staking percent of the total really mean for the value of the coin? And if you're on a proof of stake blockchain, as ETH is like the proof of stake chain, this is big stuff. The first and most important thing is it enhances the security of the network. A higher percentage of stake tokens means more network security because more tokens are committed to validating transactions and securing the chain. Because when you stake your tokens, you are giving them to validators, or you are functioning as a validator yourself if you operate a node, which reduces the likelihood of malicious attacks. For anybody who's watching who's new, there are different ways that crypto essentially works. All of them depend on computers who run the code to perform the function of validating transactions, to keep the network honest and secure, to check, everybody that's coming in has got the authority to spend money, to send money, do stuff like that. That requires a lot of work. And ETH's solution to this is to implement a model called proof of stake, where validators who are doing the checking are made to put up a significant amount of tokens as collateral. Because if they do something dishonest, that money is taken from them. The thinking goes, if Alex and I make a bet and we all put up $100 or $1,000 or whatever is precious to us, we're going to be more likely to honor that bet, to do what we say we're going to do, because we don't want to lose that money. So proof of stake incentivizes everyone participating to have good behavior, honest behavior, because if they don't, they won't see that money again. The other thing is, it increases the liquidity of the network. It reduces the liquidity of the network. When you stake your tokens, you are more or less removing them from circulation. And so this could create more demand for the price. It could create a higher or lower reward for staking if staking tokens aren't in demand enough for people who want to use them. So it could be good or bad, but the things that are definitely good: enhanced security, decentralization, and then over the long term, price stability.
Mm-hmm.
A high stake percentage could mean that the supply in the market is reduced, which means less price swings.
I just put a good little bullet list in the general chat about this, the answer to that question. Like I tagged you in it.
Hell yeah. I am sure there's oh yeah, look at this. And the last thing I would say too is, there are people who are working on extending this, like the value of staked ETH. And the protocol I would look to that's number one with a bullet in my mind is EigenLayer. They are leveraging this kind of like proof of stake security as a way to scale the network to decentralized applications, people who don't have the money to use proof of stake, to offer its security to them at a more affordable cost. Because not everybody can go out and open up a validator. It's expensive. Oh, look, we got some people who want to. Oh, Will.
So,
And it looks like we got Doug too. Doug is one of our friends from Discord, Alex. You may not recognize him by that name. God, what a beautiful man you are.
Damn,
Welcome,
why
gentlemen.
did you bring him up? He's so good looking. I was like, I'm gonna fill in for him for a second, and I can't now. So it's like,
It'll just be my neck folds then, if that makes you guys feel better.
that's good.
We really are bullish on beautiful guests and hosts. Alex and I are going to have to up our games. This just in.
I'll just live vicariously through Will's chin.
I do want to say this just in, that John Whalen is claiming credit for the elephant gift. He sent me a fantastic screenshot in our DMs, and this is, John, you're a legend. This is going everywhere.
Yeah, put that bad boy in the general chat. Last thing I'll say about the question regarding ETH and staking and whatever. Drew asked what that would do for gas. It doesn't necessarily lower the cost of gas. You could almost make a case to say that it does, because the more that is staked and the more people there are verifying and validating, the more reliable the network is, and the more likely it is that all of the transactions go through, and the less likely you are to burn gas on a transaction that does not work. So it would not itself lower the cost to you, the user, for a single transaction gas-wise, but it will make your odds of success greater. So in that sense, it makes your gas spend more efficient, because it's more likely to work faster and smoother and more consistently. So kind of. but not really.
Gentlemen, how are you this morning? And I'm going to kick it to you first, Doug, because you're, first time guest on the show. Welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. And what you thinking about? What's got you in today?
Well, a couple things. One, I'm thinking I may take back my declining of the offer for the coffee mug, because now that I see it, it's kind of dope and I kind of want it. So, I'm kidding. Yeah, it's nice. No, I got to throw a shout out to you guys. I actually haven't been in a new Discord in a minute. Like after the last bull run, I probably purged, a couple hundred from the thousands of worthless JPEGs that I bought right at this point. So I'm like, I don't need them all. So I'm only in, probably come March, 2 Discords, 2 Telegram, right? So, but Will, the other day, I think one of your videos posted to Discord. I'm like, oh, sweet. And then jumped on and saw the cross connection of these individuals here with other folks who are in the chat right now. And it's a good vibe. So I appreciate a new Discord basically forming. I don't know if it's brand new, but it seems like the inception of something and see how it organically kind of builds, and you're kind of building it as you go. So good vibes. I want to say thank you. It's refreshing.
Thank you, Doug. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the conversations, the time you've made to post some charts in there. And I think I've seen you live once or twice, usually later at night. Is there a time you usually go live? Is there anything we can do from this platform to support you?
So I appreciate that. I've been trying to do, so we try to do a Twitter space every Wednesday around 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern. And the TikTok thing has been new for me, so I'm trying to just do more lives because I'm realizing there is a market here. I even though I'm a consumer of TikTok constantly, and there are very few crypto folks that I actually will listen to because most of them are, actually I won't say names, chilling certain things, and I'm just like, okay, you're in a bucket, cool, do what you got to do, but not my thing. Primarily on here for the cat dog videos and things that just make my girlfriend laugh today. So that's why I'm on here. But now I'm like, hey, there is a market for I don't want to say good crypto folks, but ones who want to learn, right? And I'm an educator at heart, so I'm trying to find more platforms where I can do that, whether it be, just from technical analysis standpoint, consulting, life, whatever it is, just to share ideas and learn stuff from other people, because I don't know everything, but other people may know everything. I just want to just be around smart people. That's the way to put it. So,
Well, thank you very much. And we're learning too. It's helpful, educational content for people at all levels of experience. That's what people come here for, because we will give them content that they can verify for themselves to become more sufficient investors. So before I pick on Will, because I want to hear what his thoughts are, I know you made a video already, Will. I would love to know, Doug, if you have any thoughts about some of the activity happening today, like big Bitcoin ETF inflows yesterday, ETH ETF trading activity starts today, Grayscale moving money on chain, or anything that you want us to touch on.
So what's so wild, I'll keep this short, is that prior to March, I had been staring at charts for like 4 or 5 hours a day through the whole bear market. Made every possible mistake you could think of, over traded, too much leverage, probably like 7,000 hours. And now I'm like, oh, I could see into the matrix, right? I could see all the patterns. Things are great. Then all of a sudden October comes, liquidity's there. It's like I'm choosing what river I want to flow down and trade because it's so easy. Then memes get crazy. And the reason I'm saying this is that in March, I created a meme coin that went viral. I'm here to plug that. And so the reason in March things changed is that I stopped looking at charts every day. And which is kind of, I have a little bit of PTSD from that, because I was so in sync with every single thing that was happening. So I don't have as much, time to do that as much anymore. Soon I will. But to answer your question directly, I believe, to your point, it's going to be a sell the news event slightly. And for me, just looking at the macro picture, which was, I did peek at it briefly before I came in today, is I've been watching the dollar strength. The Dixie is one gauge for me, and also to USDT dominance has been also a kind of an interesting gauge. It's much more of an inverse of your bigger markets. But if I was a betting man, and say, if not financial advice, if you're presented a pullback here of let's call it, I don't know, 5%, you want to be getting long on majors if you're bullish on crypto, longer term. It's a sound opportunity. Yeah.
For people who have no idea what you just said,
sure.
Can you break it down in 2 or 3 sentences a little more simply?
So if let's say for someone who is just looking to buy spot, and when I say spot, you have a Coinbase account, you have a Gemini account, you want to just start scaling into some of the bigger projects that you've been hearing about, which is like a Bitcoin or Ethereum or Solana, whatever it may be. When you start seeing red and you start seeing more of the fear of, hey, it's over, those things of that, whatever Twitter's putting out nowadays, it would be a time to slowly start buying as you see those things pull back. And if you look at bigger charts, you kind of want to see the up and down. You want to see the market structure. You want to see up, down, up, down. So as it's kind of pulling back, would be a time to slowly start buying. And I don't know if that's a good answer to your question, because I'd say it's difficult, because depending on the investor, obviously, and what their goals are and how you approach it, the answer would be slightly different. But long story short, it's if you're a set it and forget it type person, which I think now would be a good time to do it, and you have the funds to do so, and it's kind of the dollars where, hey, I don't need this if it goes to zero. I'm not saying it's going to go to zero, but kind of just having that proper risk management, this would be the proper time, all things considered, to start scaling into new positions, in my opinion.
Well, thank you very much. Extremely.
I'll let you guys go. So we'll take a stage here now. But I appreciate you guys. This has been, you guys are great, and I'm gonna jump in every time I can, at least listen in the morning before I go to work, until I figure out a way to not go to work anymore. But that's the goal. So
listen, man, you're welcome back anytime. We appreciate having you in the Discord. Thank you for coming up to share, and have a great day, brother.
Of course, you guys too. Appreciate it. Looking forward to talking to you guys more.
Hell yeah. Now, I do have to tell you before we kick over to Will that you guys need to look it up. I don't know where it is, where I can find it, but I'm pretty sure it was in conversation with Tech CEO that Doug had said, told an incredible story. He dropped it lightly, as one should, about this meme coin he launched that achieved virality, and he did it right, man. There was no, hey, TikTok, buy my token. It's going. This guy just wanted to learn, stealth launched a token, and it was genius. It was brilliant.
Arizona iced tea?
It's the Arizona iced tea, and the story is riveting. I won't rug him to let him tell it, except that he said he launched it on an Easter weekend. He was out to dinner with his family, not thinking much about it, casually opened his phone and saw the liquidity,
gotta go home.
saw the numbers, and was like, guys, I have to go. And immediately went home. Yeah. But what a great meme. It's like Costco hot dog, Arizona iced tea. Of course it's going to be 99 cents. It was just, story was wild.
It was an accident.
It was an accident. Oh my God. So we definitely should have him on, and maybe a Rise Up After Dark episode, and we can have a drink or two and hear the adventure and roast people who are just, out here doing crazy stuff.
Evan, I just sent you just to drive it home, like Molly and her take. So this is the picture she just posted. It's the headliners from Bitcoin Nashville.
Yeah,
it's just the headliners screenshot from the website. And her caption's just nightmare blunt rotation.
Nightmare blunt rotation. Oh man.
Three convicted SA perpetrators on that headline sheet. She's like, "This is what we're doing."
Yeah. Oof.
Oh, woo!
Will's gonna be there. He's gonna tell us all about it. I know. Are you packing your literal and metaphorical bags for the conference?
No, I always pack just a few hours before my flight takes off. So that's what I do.
I'm the same way.
My entire life into boxes, because as soon as I get back, I have one more packing day, and then moving trucks come.
Woo.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for making time to join us, man. I know you're working. I know you're getting ready for the conference. I know you're getting ready for your move. But we've been.
I'm doing so many things now.
I love those things, man. I love those things. Outside of like a beefy Bavarian woman with like meatier forearms than me, pounding on your back, that is like the best invention of all time.
I know, it's great. It's. I would sell this on my TikTok. Whoever wants to sponsor me or whatever, because it has prevented and healed so many injuries. That, along with my skincare routine, I would happily be sponsored by, and also Guinness. I would happily be sponsored by these non-crypto companies.
Yeah, a couple of dream sponsors coming out your mouth right there. So Will, how are you doing, man? Thanks for bearing with me. We've been holding down the fort, but we want to know what you think, man.
I'm doing great after you send me those $3 of Tron so I could get that money.
And isn't that, when it rains, it pours. Somebody came into the Discord also saying, hey, I also need some Tron. So I don't know if you've got like influencer competition, if they're just buying a lot of ads right now or what, but.
Oh, there is. So I'll provide some context for people here who might not know. So I was reached out to by TARS AI, formerly known as TARS Protocol. And they're an AI project on Solana. They reached out to me asking to do a sponsorship, and I was like, oh, okay. So then I looked into them, and I was like, ooh, yeah, I would talk about this coin if you didn't give me money. So here's a number, and I was like, I was also just gave them a number, and I was like, I'll see what they say. And then they gave me a number that was very close to that, and I was like, really? So yeah. Anyway, so they sent me the money to make the video. I started doing research, but they sent me Tether on the Tron network, and getting Tron to pay for the gas fees is really annoying. So the entire night last night, as I was researching this coin, I was like, oh God, they paid me, but I can't get access to the money. It's just sitting in a wallet. So I was already prepared to have like an opening line for my wallet. Like, hey guys, this is a sponsored review, but also kind of not, because I technically got paid, but I can't get access to the money. But anyway, so I got to the Discord and I reached out to Evan and Alex, and I was like, hey, do you guys happen to have like $3 a Tron? Just like sitting in a wallet that you forgot about? Can you send it to me so that I can get paid?
You were an actual Nigerian prince.
Yeah, I was an actual Nigerian prince. My 95-year-old geriatric victim who I got to convince to help support me and my family in some forgotten African kingdom. And so that was that. And then I put out the video on TARS this morning.
Oh man, you've done it already? Dang.
Yeah. Because I was like, hey, I want to take like 2 days to research. And he was like, we're pushing this hard over the next few weeks and month. Can you get it up tomorrow? And I was like, that's why I was messaging you at 11:30 at night, because I was doing a bunch of research. Yeah, and so basically, if you guys watch the video, it's 10 minutes long. If you want a quick synopsis of it, I liked it enough to take one of my underwater positions, my orange lab, or not orange lab, just orange, which I've told you guys before is the position I hold that I hate. And I took it and I put it into TARS, which is the TAI coin. So there are 2 parts about their business, but their overarching goal is they want to reduce the barrier to entry for Web 2 businesses to get on Web 3. And they have 2 different parts of their business. One is total shit, and one is absolute gold. And the one that's total shit is their AI hub with their AI models, their like get paid for your data, the hey GPU, it's your typical render, Singularity Net, Ocean Protocol copycat, right? And it's, in my opinion, total garbage. However, the other part of the business they call blockchain as a service. And it's really cool because it enables a company to build a marketing presence within Solana on-chain. It enables them to create an on-chain automated vesting schedule, as well as an automated way for people to claim their airdrops. And it also provides a penalty system for projects that want to go and change their vesting schedule mid-launch to penalize them and prevent scams. That's one part. The other part of their business is to basically have like an automated launch pad that is an additional way for you in a project to raise money within Solana for basically it's like an ICO kind of thing or an IDO, as well as have launchpad features. And then another piece, which is, actually, do I have my notes here? What I forget? The fundraising piece, the claimer piece, which is the token lockups, the airdrops, the penalty. Oh yeah, and then they have an on-chain staff authentication. So on-chain, you'll be able to prove the work that was done previously across blockchain and open source ecosystems by the people working on the project, as well as the validity of the founders and such. So it's basically creating a decentralized way to doc the team and provide all the information in an easily accessible way. So those are the blockchain service pieces there. And one last piece that I'll say, the reason why I like that is because there is a ton of projects trying to go on Solana and presence, and there's a problem of a ton of scam projects and rug pulls being put out on Solana and Base specifically. And so this is a way to hopefully start to address that. So there's a pain point in the market, and there's a hungry audience of people who want to release projects on Solana. So I'm like, cool, an audience of people they can actually get adoption of, a pain point that they're solving. And then I look at the AI hub piece and I go, that's all shit because no one's going to use that, in my opinion. But it is a good little marketing ploy. So they have a little marketing ploy, and then they get to say that the Solana Foundation team is helping them, which they are, just not from a development standpoint. From a funding and marketing standpoint, they are. And that's it.
I have a question for you. First of all, thank you. And we have a question in the chat too. My question is, it sounds like those products are basically smart contracts, blockchain as a service. And I'm curious to know, how is this different or competitively distinct from, say, we've talked about Party DAO on the show before, or I've talked about Cougar DAO, and any number of solutions where people have a smart contract, it's got money, and then the money is released over time. Or the tokens can be, you log in, you claim it over time. We're already using smart contracts to do stuff like this. Nobody has like the Verizon or Nike like #1 market share position, but I don't know. I guess I am not that bullish. And like, why don't they advertise it as blockchain as a service, which seems to me more clear than AI? Like it's a question of, why are they advertising this way when this is their product? Is it really AI? And that makes me mistrust them, to think that they just want that buzzword to get some of that sweet fundraising money. But what's your impression of that? What do you think?
Yeah, so totally valid points. My impression on it is the AI portion, the AI hub, and they have, it's not AI, but everyone calls automation AI, just as the buzzword, and takes automation underneath it, right? And we do that in my corporate world also. It's just a marketing ploy. So the AI hub piece is just sexy marketing, in my personal opinion, and is just a marketing ploy. But the thing is we're in a bull market, and I don't even need this project to get genuine adoption in any way, shape, or form. I just need it to be in a hot ecosystem, Solana. I need it to be in a hot category, AI. I need it to have some distinct marketing ploy that can make its value go up, which is the grant that they received from the Solana Foundation, the Twitter AMAs that they're going to be hosting, and the marketing efforts from the Solana Foundation, as well as partnership announcements, which they have with AIs and a few other projects where, from the GPU standpoint, they can leverage other people's infrastructure and start to bring it in, and hopefully to spend their time focusing on the blockchain as a service piece, which is what their tech team is doing, because they've been audited. They have 2 audits on 2 of their 4 blockchain as a service projects right now. And the audits found some issues, and the team went and has plugged most of them. So the team, from a technical standpoint, has shown to me that they are at work on the part that to me is most important, which is blockchain as a service. And the reason why they're not leading with that from a marketing standpoint is because that's not sexy, right? So that's it. So is this a project that's going to be around in 2 years? Probably not. Is this a project that I think can get adoption from a bunch of projects that want to stand out for getting the validity of this system, but also validity of a system that's tied to the Solana Foundation? I think there's a big drive there, particularly if the Solana Foundation helps to market them.
Thank you. Alex, I want to defer to you. I have 2 simple questions, and there's one in the chat that wants to know, would you buy it? And I want to know, do you have other questions for Will that I didn't ask? Because I don't want to dominate it.
I think you covered it. Those are that's exactly what I would assume. Just one thing I'll say that's worth noting is that it's really not that hard to get a grant. If you can make a case that like what you're doing is beneficial to their ecosystem in some way, and beneficial just means that you can improve some metric for them, whether it's users using the blockchain for whatever, how many transactions you can confirm they're going to settle, whether you're going to mint new stuff or whatever you're going to be doing. How does it make Solana look better, function better, seem better? They'll give you a grant for it. And then of course, if they give you a grant, they're going to use that for marketing. So I think it's a little bit rich to say like partnering with the Solana Foundation or like, in conjunction. It just means like if they got a grant, that's great, good for them. Like they got a grant, they're not partnering with the foundation.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I'm gonna miss it, but how deep is the future of that partnership?
Oh, it's not deep at all. I mean, like it can't be from a money standpoint, because the total grant money that was set aside for the entire grant that Solana was willing to give away to people was $10 million. which is not a lot of money. And I don't know how many projects got access to that money, but it's not much. It's a small amount. But the Twitter handle or the Twitter post of the only AI project in Solana backed by the Solana Foundation is one that I think is very easily marketable and is something that most crypto investors who don't do any research will grab onto. And it's a $17 million market cap right now.
So it's pretty tiny.
Yeah, it's small. So, can it get to a $200 million market cap? As people are like, hey, it's backed by the Solana Foundation. And hey, look at Fetch. Look how big Fetch is, or Singularity Net's market cap. It fits very nicely into a coin that can do well and provide some level of returns in a bull market, and then go away and disappear into nothing, eventually. But it fits that category very nicely.
And just as get a picture on, you said you expect they're going to be putting a lot of influencer funds out because they're trying to push some marketing. Do you know any other people who are advertising it, or is this what's your perception of the marketing push? You had said earlier it's kind of bullish. You think because it'll generate some attention, but are they going to be on Twitter, or are they going to be on TikTok? Did you understand where they were going to be marketing and to whom?
The only thing I know is they have a Twitter AMA with the Solana Foundation coming up. I don't know when, and I know that they're reaching out to other content creators. So I'm not quite sure who. Other things too that the team did that they are pushing from a marketing standpoint that I've seen on Twitter is they burned 10% of the total supply of the token, which was all of the tokens that the team held. The team burned everything that they had, and staking turned on 3 days ago.
Yep.
And we need to see how much staking, adoption there can be, and then they announced a buyback program for 1% of the total supply, which is 10 million TIE tokens, which for the circulating supply today is about 8% of the total circulating supply today. So those are other things they're doing from a tokenomics standpoint, which would help it be, again, one of those coins in that category that could perform well price-wise during.
Yeah, and just numbers alone, you said 17 mil market cap?
Yeah.
Just before you got on, we were looking at Bionomy. Have you heard of Bionomy? They do some blockchain as a service stuff, but it's mostly oriented towards developers, scaling smart contracts, paying for gas for dApps, stuff like that, user experience solutions. And their market cap is $22 million, and their audience is devs, and I've never heard of them. I hear about Tars AI every day, all the time. It's mostly buy this, buy this, buy this, and all their incentives are staking, buybacks, burning. $22 million market cap, probably an appropriately priced product. $17 million market cap, I don't even know what their product is necessarily that I can use personally yet. But based on what you said, if I was a betting man, I would bet on this horse if my goal was who's going to make the most money in the next 30 days kind of thing.
The other thing too is you're going to see they're also working on their next big update is easy compatibility. So, obviously you want to plug into that liquidity over on Ethereum. There's no set date on that, but that's their major update that they're working on. And then you'll see pretty soon they'll be connected to CoinGecko. They're working on being connected to DeFi Llama, to dApp Radar, and all that stuff. So you can't go and verify the adoption levels yet, but they're connecting those. Those are all the big next to-do items. And then I went to go look at the top holders too. There's a massive wallet that has 73%, but that is the total supply that's being vested out over time. And it's basically a 3% in the supply every month, roughly 3 or 2%. And the next 3 biggest wallets are 1 more associated with the project and 2 are exchange wallets. And then the top 10 natural wallets only hold about 11% of the total supply. So it is pretty decentralized once you get past that.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
It doesn't seem like it's a rug pull. It doesn't seem like it's a scam. How much adoption can it really get? Who's to say? But I think it fits that category of a coin that can go up in a bull market very, very nicely. And if it wasn't in the Solana ecosystem, I wouldn't really care for this at all. But it is in Solana, and that's the hottest ecosystem in the space.
Will, I just saw that the ETFs are live now. Do you want to give us your thoughts on the ETF? We speculated a little bit earlier, and
Yeah, well, right now the price is holding pretty steady.
Yeah. I was just about to go over and look at it.
Yeah, popped briefly above 35, and now kind of waffling with a 1% or so.
Yeah, there is the argument that in the setup for the Bitcoin ETF, we had such a crazy run up that of course we're going to sell. With Ethereum, we've been going sideways for as long as the whole market's been going sideways, which is April. 2 months we've been going sideways. So there's less of an incentive to sell right now.
But there's also the grayscale fear.
Yes, yeah, the grayscale fear.
Sounds like a plague.
The outflows, but I guess we'll see. Right now, we see resilience, but it's only been open for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
We did have a question while we're waiting for that news to roll in that I'd love for you guys to comment on. It was a request for comment from I want to read it exactly from Meme Coin live chat, specifically asking us to comment on the statement. Crypto's number one feature is as a tool to speculate on markets. What do you guys think about that? Crypto's number one feature is a tool to speculate on markets.
Correct. Except that's the number 2 tool, because the number 1 tool is to increase the amount of Satoshis you have. Altcoin's number 1 use case is to get more Bitcoin. That's it. And you get to that via speculation.
Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. The overwhelming majority of them are, yes, it's an easier to invest in vehicle that you can use to bet on the success of one marketing team versus another.
Yep.
I am gonna disagree with you. I'm gonna say that right now, I think that's what crypto is. For this moment, that is the story we've chosen to tell.
Hold on. Did you just say, I'm going to disagree, you're correct?
You're correct.
No, I am making a nuanced point. The nuance is, if you ask me, what is crypto doing right? Of course I agree. I couldn't agree more with that.
Yeah.
But I really want to be, the story I want to be on record is telling is the whole reason I'm here. If it was just about the speculation, if that's all this was ever going to be, I wouldn't be here. The thing that gets me out of bed every single day and brings me to talk to you about crypto or to tell anyone about crypto, people dismiss me as, Evan's here for the tech. But here's the thing. Crypto, to say that crypto that its number one use case is about speculation is like saying the automobile's number one use case is going to be racing. Crypto is going to be so much more than currency. The way that your smartphone does more than phone calls. It is an entirely new medium that has notoriously been used for money and will be used for speculation probably as long as it's around. But the same way that the automobile made it possible for us to have highways and for us to have semi-trucks and therefore grocery stores and supply chains and hospitals and ambulances and family vehicles and jobs more than 20 minutes from home, crypto is going to be a whole new medium with novel ways to give a tangible form to intangible things like language, like money. You will use crypto to express your identity, to tell stories, to make meaning with others because it helps you align your values and coordinate at scale in totally innovative ways. I absolutely think that when it has reached that zenith, that most of it will have very little to do with money.
I don't disagree with you. It will do all of those things to a much larger extent than it's doing today. But there is nothing more powerful than human greed. And human greed will be incentivized towards using this in the overwhelming majority of way, or at least maybe not overwhelming, but I'll say majority of way in the future to speculate on feeding that greed and speculating on things to get a better asset.
I think the only thing more powerful than human greed is human charity. I think it's all about incentives. I think that's I don't say this to be dismissive or snobbish. I think that's a very short-term view. that is understandable in a world where capital is the primary incentive, monetary capital specifically. But that's a very new view. Like, we're talking a couple thousand years old in the context of many millions of years story. That is the story of humanity. I think more of our story is about cooperation than it is about competition.
I see what you're saying, but I would say that money has always existed. It's just been different things. In the past, it was seashells.
No. The anthropological consensus is that for many years, most of human history, you can look this up, anthropologists concur that prior to debt, that debt is only a few thousand years old, and debt precedes seashells. That before that time, humans mostly shared their resources. That instead of warring over stuff and fighting over stuff, if I met another human out in the wild, it was almost always a cause for celebration. If they traded gifts and tokens, it was without expectation of gifting in return. There's a really great book on this. It's called Debt. It's by David Graeber. If you're ever in the mood for like kind of a nerdy, but also like a blow your mind read that's not too snobbish, but is Debt is it. David Graeber is a fantastic anthropologist. He was one of the leaders of the Wall Street movement in 2008, Occupy. And it's just not a story we tell that much, but it's the truth. That for most of our history, we did not have barter, we did not have currency, we just shared stuff.
Yeah, but then you had social debt. So then debt was just different. To me, it's just debt in different forms, but it's always existed.
I would be interested to hear what your thoughts are if you sat with it for a little longer. We can talk about it another time. I'm on my soapbox now, and people are gonna start throwing tomatoes at me if I get any further in the money and incentives conversation. But that's my point: is that I think speculation. I agree. I think it will be more than that.
I think the two things can coexist. So to say that even if we're being honest, right, and we want blockchain to transcend and crypto to evolve and do all of these things that you're talking about, which is admittedly slightly idealistic, especially as it stands, which I think you would probably admit.
Possible and is done partly today to a certain extent in certain projects. Absolutely.
Agree. No, agree for sure. Just mean like the tech needs to recede into the background a little bit. And right now it's too fresh and it's too new and it's in everybody's face. And that's being used as the speculative vehicle, which is okay. And I can totally see, it continuing that way forever, that there will always be someone speculating with some new crypto. I just think it's going to get harder and harder. And we've already seen that take hold this bull market. Like it's way harder to convince someone that a crypto is going to do great. Last bull run, the only pitch you needed was it's blah, but crypto. And it's great. Here's $10 billion. And now that's not the case anymore. And, now here we are like picking apart the, TARS thing, which last bull run, that would have, oh my God, that would have been a golden child had AI been a thing.
Yeah.
I have a point to expand upon that. So I think so I totally agree with you. It's much harder for projects to get money right now. But that is not because the crypto market has learned their lessons from the past. That is entirely because it is more difficult to get money today because of the different monetary environment that we're in, with heightened interest rates, and therefore less money being thrown around by venture capitalists. As soon as money becomes cheap again, those money bags open, baby, and people start speculating like crazy because greed wins.
You don't think
every day?
I don't think that means greed wins. I think the incentive is there for it. People need money in the world we live in. Money is the means by which we allocate resources. It's not that resources are scarce. It's not that the world's food isn't abundant. It is that the powers that be have decided you must use money as the means by which you will get potatoes from Idaho at the grocery store to your belly. You don't grow it. You don't share it. That's what you do. It is that reason that prompts you to get up and go to a job and work for a retirement. It is not that you need money to eat money or burn money for warmth. You need food, water, shelter. We have decided money is the means to get it. And that is why, that is the incentive. That's the carrot at the end of the stick. That's why people want the money. Not because money in itself means anything, because it doesn't. If we were inherently greedy, I think then you would just hoard stuff. You would never reach over and give someone a bite of your sandwich. You would never reach over and share your fire with someone else. But money is built to be greeted after.
Yes, but that I have thoughts on that, but that is a slightly different topic than what I was just talking about, which is the amount of or the effects of monetary policy on there being money that to be thrown around towards like small projects, right? That is the other. So before I change topics and address what you said,
I didn't mean to make you change. I was just piggybacking on the very last thing you said about because greed.
Yes. So I'll give two thoughts on both those pieces. Is we also have a time where it's also harder for projects to get a lot of money because capitalists need to throw money at a project that will also get money thrown at it by retail. And right now, retail doesn't have money because unemployment is going up and inflation's been high and people have a hard enough time putting food on the table, right? There's not as much money put into markets by retail investors. Therefore, there is not enough liquidity right now to be exited by bigger fish money people, right? So that's another piece. So we're going to need to see monetary policy free up, inflation continue to come down. There'll be money for retail investors to be used as exit liquidity by the venture capitalists, which, hopefully everyone here is trying their best to learn and educate themselves to not be exit liquidity. And then the other piece that you said, I totally agree with you. Money in and of itself has no value, and it only has value because we've given it value. However, I would say that the reality of the situation is if you don't work within the system that we have from an economic monetary policy, you can't get things like the food. So you need to work within that reality.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree.
But it's a fun conversation. It's a great time.
And one day I think we'll look back on it and say, man, you remember when we used money? What a wild world that was.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you might have to live to about 500 or 700 years old to get to that point.
It might not be too hard the way they're going with this whole life extension stuff. It is quite a blessing to get old.
When altered carbon.
Okay, let me catch up on what folks are saying. Are we seeing anything out of ETH? Has it tanked yet? Are we poor again?
It is now negative on the debt. It is negative 0.15%.
Negativo. Yeah. And what about Bitcoin? Will, what was the figure yesterday? I saw your morning update video. That yesterday was a big day. Was it $500 million?
It was $500 million by BlackRock.
Wow, BlackRock alone.
Yeah, BlackRock alone.
Catch folks up who didn't see that, because I did a little double take. I was like, oh damn.
I saw that too, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, maybe it won't. And then I was like, oh no way. So someone in the comment section reminded me. They're like, hey, isn't buying volume always highest at the top of peaks? And I was like, it sure is. It sure is. So it looks like BlackRock investors are just as likely to make that mistake as us little retail folk,
Mm-hmm. Well,
buying tops. Local tops.
I would imagine that they have ulterior motives.
Yeah, probably. But also at the same time, if you're a long-term investor, buying Bitcoin at any level is a good one.
Can I just say real quick, if you guys want to go in on a side venture with me, I don't know where maybe in like Ybor or some other high, big time LGBT city, great crypto LGBT crossover bar would be called Local Tops. Yeah, your new favorite crypto gay bar, Local Tops.
That would actually be genius. That'd be good. And then you could have your own meme coin for it.
Absolutely, dude. It would be such a niche community, but I feel like we could corner the whole market. And as three guys who look cute when we do our hair right, then we could be the marketing. It'd be great.
Well, good. As long as I can woo my way to get free Apple Teenies.
Yeah, I think that.
So, there was a question earlier, Evan, that now that we're back on ETH a little bit, reminded me. Someone was saying about we were talking about staking, ETH staking, and if you're still in here, shout out, because now I can't remember what the username was, but just like I'm staking ETH for those juicy like 2% returns or something.
Sure.
And that is admittedly like not a great APY. However, I think that was through Coinbase, and you can get significantly better APY than that. Like, it's still not great. ETH APY is not high. It's like 4%. It depends where. I think the average. I think Lido is 3.79 right now, possibly. And then, of course, you pay a fee to stake there. So it just felt like a good moment to say, like, you can stake elsewhere, like besides on Coinbase and on the centralized exchanges, and the APY is always going to be better at the source. There's also always usually a trade-off there. So, like, staking your ETH on Coinbase is easier and more convenient than it is to do it on a liquid staking platform like Lido or something else. Interestingly, that's exactly what CrowdStake is doing. That's the whole point. Is that we're replicating the Lido model, so the liquid staking model, except you get to claim the full APY. So it's going to be whatever. It's a little bit higher than Lido because we don't have as many things to pay for as Lido does. And that's kind of the goal, to like recreate the Coinbase experience of just like having a little easy dashboard to do the staking on. And then of course you can do cool stuff with the APY, like, donate it or use it to raise funds for a movie you want to see get made, or a video game studio that's raising money, or something Kickstarter-esque. So I'll keep you guys posted because the waitlist is about to go live if you want it. I know there was some interest in moving ETH. If you have ETH and you don't have anywhere to stake it, or you're not staking it, you should be. And I will let you guys know, because the promo that we have decided to do is the first $40 million in TVL for CrowdStake is going to pay 0 fees for the first 12 months of staking. So that saves quite a bit, because like Lido's fee is 10% for context. So you'll get a much bigger return on your ETH stake, even if you choose not to donate it. Staking with us, so I'll keep you guys posted, because when the waitlist goes live, if you join that, then you'll be in that first little block. Get 0 fees for a year, which is a pretty sweet gig.
That is pretty sweet.
You guys get first crack. No one else has heard about it yet.
You're getting the alpha here, baby.
That is the alpha, yeah, for sure.
That's definitely the alpha. And how about the rescue? I saw that the rescue's on TikTok now. It's in my to-dos to take all that dog footage I have and make a video now that you have at rescue on Warpcast, but they're integrated with CrowdStrike, and you're working on a frame for that. Is that right too? Yeah,
I'm working with a guy to make a donation frame that also gives you a POAP for donating. That's the goal. And actually, I got the attention of someone else at POAP when I posted that, so I think there might be a little bit more support from them coming in, which would be pretty cool. He's one of the co-founders of the original. Actually, Evan, you probably would know who it is. I have to find his name, but
it's not Patricio.
No, it's not Patricio.
Alex, do we have a message somewhere with your ETH address? And if so, just tell me what's your ENS, dude, or like what's the last 4 of your ETH address? I gotta find it.
Hold on.
And Will, do you have an ENS address or an ETH address on Base that you like?
I do.
Okay, just ping it to me in the situation room, man.
Okay.
It's Lucas, Evan. Lucas from POAP Studio.
Oh, I don't know Lucas. Alex, ping me yours real quick too. I am in the process of I don't know why I haven't done this sooner.
Do you what, my Ethereum address on Base?
Yes. Yeah, your ETH address. Send it to me. I have John Whalen, you're a goat for capturing the screenshot. Drew, you're a goat, or should I say the elephant, for sending the gift. I took that screenshot and I just created a new collection on Zora. Alex and I did a video last week about decentralized social networks. The social media apps you can start using today to do stuff on chain, and one of those is Zora. It's like Instagram and POAP had a baby. You can see social posts and collect them, and it's like free to collect plus gas. So you spend like 33 cents and you get a little collectible. And we're always trying to get you to do cool stuff on chain. So you've got to check out Zora. And the very first new mint in this collection is going to be called Perfectly Timed Gift. And it's going to feature this awesome screenshot of Alex the elephant. And it'll live on chain forever, free for you to collect. If you've got a mintable moment from the show, you can send it to me. I would love to have it there. Zora is cool because they don't have a token. They use ETH. And you can mint stuff with your ETH on Base, on Optimism, on any EVM compatible chain. It's great. You can tip tokens on the platform. And you can just collect stuff. I saw that Zach XBT, after he did the Lazarus expose, minted a collectible for it, and like 300,000 people collected it, or 300,000 editions have been collected. And though it cost people like cents, I think it made him a couple of ETH. So it's just a cool way. You know, the money is not the only incentive, and it's not necessarily even the first incentive. But I'm going to start putting fun collectibles up so you guys can collect them, and it'll support us.
Also, guys, I'm going to get going for a work call I have in 4 minutes. But I appreciate it, and I love all of you. And I hope you all have a great day. Also, most people here probably already know I'm going to be at the Bitcoin Nashville conference Friday and Saturday. I'm flying down Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. But Evan and Alex, in the Discord, you can send me the stats for our combined show prowess, just in case I run into people who are curious, you know?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can sell us.
Absolutely.
for sure. And I'm going to send you a name as well. One of our, someone is going to be there that I mentioned to you, Jillian, property lawyer, who's going to be there. And she was curious if any of us were going. I said you were going, so I'll send you her.
Your name. I've seen her name in the comment section.
She would be a great person.
Send Rick a message on Discord because he's going to be there too.
Yeah. Rick and I have connected on Discord. Rick, I'll send you a note. We'll exchange cell phone numbers and we'll connect for sure.
Do you have any final thoughts then before you get out to your call?
ETH hopefully go down. ETH hopefully go down, and then all altcoins go down, and then I buy more, and then I done, and then I watch, and then I sell, and then good. That's good. Yeah. Those are my last thoughts.
You keep forgetting the last step, which is then you adopt me.
And then I have sweet little baby boy Alex.
My boy.
My boy.
Well, thank you for making the show better, Will. We really love it, man. Everybody loves it, and we're going to get you away from your day job as soon as we can.
Well, it's going to take a lot of money.
Go make that money, man. Have fun, and we'll see you soon. What a guy. I love Will. I just love him.
You got any stragglers there, Evan?
Any stragglers? No, if you've got a last minute thought, question, good joke, word of wisdom, go ahead and drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear it. And if you haven't the time, or you haven't the space, or you just can't because you just couldn't possibly, then join the Discord server. Tap my face, tap Alex's face. TheRiseUpMorningShow.com has all the links to the newsletter, to the YouTube channel. It's got the links to get in the Discord, all the value we have from the show. You can find it at TheRiseUpMorningShow.com. And the Discord is the place the show lives 24/7. You don't have to be there, but why wouldn't you? Build community with other people. That's the real alpha. If you want to learn this stuff, getting in a community, because not all knowledge is created equal, will help accelerate your learning journey, multiply your efforts. Is Will rich? Is the question. He makes snobby rich people jokes. I hope he's still watching. He did the same thing yesterday. I think Will probably has a higher net worth than I do, but I don't think that's a stretch, man. I think he lives in a city center. He works in a sales job for an AI. I think he's doing just fine. I think rich is comparative, and I think there are more ways to measure riches than in dollars and cents. But if you're just talking dollars and cents, maybe Will adopt you.
No,
I think we're doing good.
Get in line.
Yeah. Yeah, we could have a whole family. That could be the play. That could be the bull market play is pump Will's bags, get adopted. How many kids can Will have? You know, I don't think there's a limit. Listen, I'm sure he would tell you the same thing, that he is working to retire. Once he gets there, we'll know. Doesn't he sell pianos? Oh, we've really come full circle. I'm sorry, Jessica. Our friend Mac Lorden used to sell pianos. Is why I'm laughing about that. Will has never sold pianos.
It's an AI related sales of some sort.
Yes, and the fun fact about Mac, who is not here today, so I'll speak for him, is when he sold pianos, it was in Dallas. But apparently there was a big Chinese Mandarin-speaking community there, and he would often get customers who loved him because though he was a white guy from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, he could speak Chinese and would talk to them, meet them on their terms. And so guy who speaks Chinese and you want to buy a piano and you're Chinese, of course you're going to sell a lot of pianos. Tech CEO says, my friend said red flags on TARS. Would be curious to hear more about it. I think Will did a great deep dive. I can't wait to see his video. Drew will get your friend request, definitely. If you're in the Discord, please do feel welcome to friend request us. If you're watching the show right now, please do follow us. 2 reasons to follow us. The number one is for safety, because we both have a lot of impersonators. And it is beneficial. If you're here often, let's be friends. Like, if you want to send us a message and you got to Google us in the little search feature, you're never going to know which one's the right one. So follow us now. And the other thing that does is, if you like content like this, if you find this content helpful and you just scroll past without following, you're worried you're going to mess up your follower counter, I don't know, whatever, then the algorithm doesn't know to bring you back here or to give you content like this in the future. It's up to all of us to tell a better story. And that's one way we can do it, is by asking everybody who gives us content to give us better content. If all you're asking is what token's going to do 100x, then that's probably all you're going to get. And it's not going to be very helpful to you. So, let us know how we can be helpful to you. Connect with us here, jump in the Discord, and we'll keep it going. That's my final thought. I don't have anything else. Oh, I will say, Tech CEO, are you doing the show this week? Is it tonight? If you want to learn and earn and experience the wild, ruckus, fun atmosphere of a new crypto game show, check out Tech CEO, where the dirty degens, the chat, are getting paid because people are having crypto battles. And it can be a lot of fun. It was really, really a good time. And I think it'll be even better and smoother this week. Oh, not this week. Hold tight then. Never mind. And if you're going to Bitcoin Nashville, let DeFi Daddy know, because I hear there's an influencer house or something. Will's going to be at Nashville. Rick's going to be in Nashville. I'm going to be in Michigan. Alex is hanging back in Georgia, so we're just sending you our love. Please send pictures, because if there is really truly a house of TikTok influencers, I absolutely got to see it. I still think that would be a great reality show, better than Killer Whales. A bunch of degens in a house trying to do stuff. Keith, send us that message in Discord. Jupiter liquidity pool. Jupiter's a great protocol. If it's related, it's probably great. How about you, brother? Final thought, last joke? Oh, you're muted. It looks like you're just posing.
Muted. I was just saying, someone asked for the StoneFi contract address, so I'll grab that for you in a second. But no, I am well met to be watching ETH and seeing if we get a better price to scoop some up. I would imagine that the price will be hit significantly if Grayscale starts to offload any of that billion. So I'll be keeping an eye on that, and then we'll go from there, I guess.
Okay. Well, my friend, thank you. And thank you, everybody, for being the best part of this show. We say it all the time, but it's the truth. You are the best part of the Rise Up Morning Show, and we will be back to hang out with you tomorrow. Same time, same place, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. UTC. Find us in the Discord, whose link is at theriseupmorningshow.com. Be well, stay safe, And until next time, my friends, rise up.